Today we are going to be inside of Gimp. I had got requested tutorial on layers inside of Gimp, how to work with layers and stuff like that. I'm not sure exactly what the person was wanting, but I'm gonna go ahead and just go over a little bit of the layer system and stuff here to the best of my knowledge. And if I didn't exactly cover something that the person that requested this tutorial, just leave a comment in the description below and I will be happy to answer them if I can. Alrighty, so I'm just going to go ahead and file and going to open, I don't know, a recent image that I just completed, and just open it up here. And this is something that I made inside of Blender, and this is going to be one of the tutorials inside of Blender on how to create this image here once we get into that part of the tutorials and stuff like that. Actually, that's the finished one. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open up the raw one. So we'll just work on this before one. Let's see here. So here's your layer system over here, and you got your layer modes. These all got different functions. This is your opacity. So if you turn this down, this makes the layers. Let's go ahead and go down here, and this button down here creates a new layer, and we could just name this fill. I don't know, fill layer. And I'll go ahead and I don't know, I'll fill it with some kind of dark purple, and you could just drag and drop that on there and it'll cover this layer here. And so you got your opacity, so the lower you go, the less opaque this layer is. The higher you go, of course, the more opaque it will be. And then we got our layer modes. So we could just go ahead and click through here, and you could just click once on it, and then you could use your arrows on your keyboard to move through them. So this was dissolve, light and only, screen, dodge, addition, darken, multiply, burn, and that kind of gives it a kind of funky look. Overlay, soft light, hard light, and you could just run through all of these. I'm just using these as an example. So we could keep this on soft light here, and actually no, we're gonna go ahead and delete this layer. Down here is your delete. This is anchor, so if you drag and drop an image in here, maybe if I control A, control C, and then control V. Alrighty, see how this says floating selection here? What this arrow does is it anchors it. So it anchors it into a new layer, which it anchored it into that layer. So now that's a solid layer there. And if you right click here, you got all your options, a lot of your layer options that you could go up here and use up into your tool menus. Up here, you could get down here just by right clicking. So here's you got your layer effects panel here. Create a layer mask from, that's an add-on. You can flatten your image, you can merge visible layers, alpha to selection, add an alpha channel. So I don't know if you could see this too well down here, but you on each side of this, which is on this side, you'll see that it's black, and that means JPEGs or JPGs, whatever you want to call them, they don't have alpha channels. That's why you want it to save into a what is it, a Targa or into a PNG, because they carry alpha channels with them. The JPEGs don't, and that's why it's showing this black line. So you'll want to right click and you'll want to add an alpha channel. But now you'll see that the black solids on each side is gone. That means it added an alpha channel to it. So let's see, that's the anchor. Let's add an alpha channel. This button down here is creating a duplicate layer. So you click here and create multiple duplicates of that layer that you are selected on. This arrow brings this layer to the bottom. So the down arrow brings it down. The up arrow brings it up. And this button down here creates a layer group. And so we got a new group here. I don't know, just put new, I don't know, something like that. You want to take this and you want to drag this on top of this layer, on top of it, and then there, it's added into your layer group. And you could use layer groups, let's say if you're creating a drawing or something like that and you want to keep things organized and stuff like that, you'll put them into layer groups. So that's those two options. Let's right click and let's see what else we got here. We right click, you can add a layer mask to this. And in your layer masks, you got the white full opacity. So white means it's fully opaque, so it won't, you'll still see the image. If you go black, you'll see that it covers the image completely. So I normally just use white because I don't like working over the layer. I like seeing, so if I turned up the opacity on this and I put this back to normal, I like seeing what I'm doing and what I'm erasing. Control Z that. Oops. Control Z, get rid of that. Go to normal. And so if we right click, add layer mask, and if we go to full transparency, you'll see what I'm talking about. So it's black, so now it removes the image. And then over here, instead of using black, you'll want to make sure that this color is a white. And then you could fill the image in that way. Personally, I don't like working this way. Sometimes I do use it, but a lot of the times I like using the white. Then you got layers alpha channel. You got transfer layers alpha channel. You could so let's say we have a selection or something. Let's just draw out a circle here and then right click and go to add layer mask, and then you can click selection and click add, and then it will automatically Control Shift A to deselect. It will automatically mask that selection out for you. Control Shift A to deselect, right click, add layer mask. Then you got grayscale copy of layer, add. Now you have a grayscale here, and if you alt click, you could view that, and you alt click again, it'll bring that back. And so it masked out all the gray areas in there. We're going to Control Z that, get out of that. We're going to right click. You got scale layer options, so you could right click instead of going up into image, scale image. You could right click and get into that there. You could change the layer boundary size here instead of going up into layer boundary size. So, and then you can right click layer to image size. I use this a lot because sometimes when you bring in an image, Shift T, and it's super large like that, and scale. And the way Gimp remembers things, so if I click on it, you'll see that it's way out of the layer, and Gimp remembers that. And a lot of times, I don't know if you've been doing images, but you'll see a message when you go to save it or something, export it out, I mean, it'll say, do you want me to crop the layers? And you should press yes, because if not, that just adds more extra information in there, and it makes your file size more bigger. So you could just right click and layer to image size, and now if we shift on it, now it's the layer size. let's see, we right click, you could delete the layer here, you can merge it down here, you could anchor the layer here, you could duplicate the layer here, you could add a new layer group here, you can make a new layer, or you can make a new from visible, just like that. So it just made a copy. Then you can go right click up there and delete everything there. Some snow. Then I add in, I don't know, a different kind of snow. And I don't know, let's add in some wood planks. And then we'll go ahead and scale this out just like that. Press scale. You can right click and go through all this layer to image size stuff. I also have a add-on, where is it at? It's under layer, multiple layer actions. If you just Google multiple layer actions for Gimp, you'll find this. And then you could do linked layers, non-linked layers, all layers. You could do set to visible. You could turn them all off. Invisible, you could invert all of them, clear a selection on all of them, layer to image size on all of them, semi-flatten all of them, flatten, add alpha channels to all of them, or remove layers from images. So what we're going to do is just go click on layer to image size and press OK, and that just made all the images layer size, instead of going ahead and go through. And that's a good add-on if you have like 100 layers and they're all super huge. Let's see, so I don't know, we could go ahead and make a small selection out of this, and then just press Control I to invert that selection, and then hit delete. Control Shift A on that one, and then come down here to the snow and make a smaller selection of this snow. Press Control I to invert that, then delete on your keyboard. Control Z, Control Shift A real quick, and we could go ahead and right click and add an alpha channel to that. Right click, add an alpha channel to that, and that one's already got an alpha channel. Now we could go back over here, and actually that was a good example from before. This image is super huge, so you won't see any of the black lines in this layer. But since this layer don't have an alpha channel, now that when we Control I that and go to delete, you'll see because it don't have no alpha channel, and alpha channel creates transparency, you'll see that it just creates a solid background. And that's not what you want. So we'll just Control Z all that, and then you could right click and, oops, wrong one. Right click and add an alpha channel. Right click, add alpha channel to this one also. So now, just drag that out just a little bit. And then now we could go Control I and then hit delete. And now Control Shift A to deselect. And now that you'll see that you have that selection. And it'll be the same for this one right here. We'll just do a rectangular select real quick and Control I that to invert the selection, and then hit delete. Control Shift drop shadow. Okay. Right click, merge layer group, and now you have all these as a separate layer group. I mean, as single layers now. So what you might want to do is maybe you can right click on this one and just hit where's it at? Merge down from this menu, and then merge down. And now you see we got all three of these on one layer. So we just merged all those on one layer. So that's a merging option. Let's see, what else is there to do? Okay, you could hold down Shift and click the eyeballs, and it'll turn every other layer off except for the one that you're clicking on. You could do that for the linking also. I wish they would make an option for you to select multiple layers in here, and then that way you could just go ahead and merge those down in the layer palette anyways. I wish you could do that. Okay, and we'll lock the alpha channel on that. And you'll see when you lock the alpha channel, it's pretty awesome, because especially when, let's Control Z, all that, especially when you have an image like this, there's transparency. And if you have images below that you don't want to mark on, I mean, you could also go in and use your magic wand and try to select all this and stuff like that. Control Shift A to deselect that. And you could also right click and then go alpha to selection to do that also. But in some cases, Control Shift A to deselect. In some cases, you might not want to do that, and you might just want to go ahead and color on here. So here's an easy fix. You could lock the alpha channel and then go back and grab the brush. I unlocked it. Let's go back and hit lock, and now it's locked. And now you'll see that it's only coloring on the visible images, and it's leaving the alpha channel blank. And in a lot of use cases, I'm going to Control Z that, in a lot of use cases that might be what you need. So that's locking your alpha channel, and you could just unclick that. And then you could also lock your pixels. And see, you locked them. And maybe you're working on something or something, I don't know. And you don't want to be able to affect your other layers. Control Z, and so you can go ahead and lock the pixels, and now you can't do nothing to this layer. So that's a pretty good option. So we'll unlock that there, and that's what those two mean. Let's see what else. And now we could go ahead and you can right click and we'll go to merge visible layers. Actually, let's cancel that, and I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this a few times. And let's say you want to merge all these and you don't have that add-on that I just showed you guys. All you have to do, and you don't want none of this to be merged, you just turn these off, and then on this top layer you just right click and then merge visible layers and expand it as necessary. I don't ever mess with anything there, and I just hit merge. And then now you'll see all the ones that had the eye visible, they are all merged now. And it didn't merge with the ones that you had turned off. So that is an awesome little thing there. Let's see, you could flatten the image. So no matter what, even if we could turn these off and right click and flatten the image, and you don't want to do that because now you have black in there. Control Z, it's Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, and then go back. You want to make sure when you flatten the image you have all the layers turned on, and then go ahead and flatten your image. So let's Control Z that and get out of there. Let's see what else do we have here. Let's see. Alright, let's go down here to this layer, and I'm going to create a layer mask. Now I'm going to just use white full opacity, and make sure we go to black here, and I will raise my brush size just a tad bit, and just, I don't know, kind of erase some of that background in there. And let's say that's not entirely what you wanted to do to that. You could go ahead and right click, make sure you click on the layer mask, right click, and you could apply your layer mask. You could delete it, you could show it here. Edit is already visible, and you could disable the layer mask, or you could go ahead and do mask to selection, so everything we just drew out right here will be in a selection. And then you could go ahead and, I don't know, go up to one of these images if you want, and then hit delete, and then you go ahead and turn the rest of this off, and press Control Shift A, and you'll see that it deleted everything out of that line. Then we can right click on this layer mask again and delete it, and then you'll see that we have that selection. That's another thing that you could do to try to blend in things. So, but we're gonna delete that, so we don't want to do that. And let's see, so that's layer masks. Working with layer mask here, and then alright, so you got multiple modes here. So we could put this on screen, and let's see, I don't know, and put that on soft light. So we got each of these layers on different layer modes, and you can see that every layer mode that you put them on, each layer mode has an effect. So if I put this back on normal, the very top layer is not gonna show any effect of these other layers that you have down here because we have it on normal. So if we change it to, like I did before, to screen, now you'll see that you get a little bit of a different effect with this image over the other images. And then if we turn this one on, and this one is on dodge, you'll see that it went from this to this effect, and this top layer is having an effect with this layer mode of this dodge. So if we just had it on dodge, you can see, and I'm turning this one off, and then if I turn this other layer on, you'll see that I put this one on soft light. So now they're all three going together from screen to dodge to soft light. So what you got to remember is always the top layer, if you have this on normal, none of the effects below is going to work on it unless you lower the opacity down to go ahead and see the effects. And maybe that's something that you're trying to go for, and we probably should lower the opacity down on that, and we could do screen, and then we could come and lower opacity down on the rest of these layers here, and you could get a different effect. So just remember that the one that's always on top is the one that's going to have the next, or the main effect, I should say. So that's on dissolve. I meant to go to normal. So, and if we turn this one off, and then that effect and stuff, because it's no longer visible, is no longer accounted for. So now next it's going off of the dodge. So if we put this full blast there, you can see dodge, and it's affecting all the layers below it. So if we turn this one off, and then we got the soft light. Let's see, that's kind of cool. We could do a little few tricks to blend that in. But anyways, and now so we have the top two turned off. So now it's relying on this soft light layer, and it's affecting all the rest of this effect for the rest of the layers. It's not adding the effect to these layers. It just has this effect, and overall it's looking like it's affecting the whole image, if that makes any sense. So let's see. So that's sort of kind of decent example, and like I said, I don't know if I exactly explained that in ways people could understand. I hope I did. Like I said, if you guys have any questions below, please leave a comment below, and I will answer them for you if I can. Let's see. So we got layer modes, opacity. The opacity works different too. So if you have, like, say, this dodge layer, remember the top one is going to be the first effect. So we don't have no effect on it. We just lowered the opacity. So next it's going, and since we made it partially opaque, it's seeing the next effect below. So if you wanted to lower this effect, then it's going to be a blend of these two layers for the rest of the layers down below. So, and of course, you're not going to be able to have any effect on this layer down here because this top layer is solid. So, but if we turn that one off, then you'll see that now it's affecting the whole overall image. So now these two are blending together, and they're slightly a bit more opaque, and you can make the soft light as opaque as you want, and then they all three are blending together now to make this type of image. Alrighty, so I'm gonna go ahead and delete these now, and let's see here. Let's go ahead and create a new layer, and we'll just call this a grade. And because we're gonna go ahead to our gradient tool, and we'll just go over here and we'll get this kind of purplish color here, and then we'll go to kind of a yellowish, kind of goldish orange here, and we'll just go ahead and hold down shift to straight line, and then let's control Z that. Let's go ahead and oops, let's go ahead and just kind of get some more purple in here. Alrighty, so and this is the same concept as gradients. So we could put it to soft light. Let's turn this one off. And then you can mess with the opacity, and it affects the images in different ways. So it works on gradients, it works on whatever you want. Whatever layer mode you set that layer to be, it don't matter what image or what effect you have on it or whatever, it's going to affect it. So be careful with that. I think that is pretty much it. Like I said, if there's some things that I didn't explain, please just leave a comment below, and I will be happy to go ahead and answer them in the comments, or if it needs another video for explaining, I will be happy to go ahead and elaborate more further. And I hope this helps some people, and especially the person that requested this tutorial. Like I said, if you still have more questions, please leave a comment below, and if there's more things that I need to elaborate on in a video, I will be happy to do that. Please like and subscribe for tons more tutorials, and have a great day. Thank you.